Coming up next on HCTV's Roundtable Wrestling Preview, we're going to interview head coach Tim Hannerburg, and he's going to highlight some of the key things about this upcoming wrestling season.
And after that, I'm really excited to get the captains of the wrestling team coming up. We got Trey Beisel, we have Mark Svoboda, and then Case and Esterby are going to be highlighting their predictions going into the season as well.
Welcome, Raider sports fans, to HCTV's first ever Raider Roundtable Preview Show. I'm Kyle Kreiser, joined by Mitch Sheeman. You probably have heard us before on the air, but never seen us in person. We're here today to kind of preview our wrestling team and all the things that we're looking forward to this year. I'm joined not only by Mitch, but by Coach Tim Hannerburg, the 2023 State Coach of the Year. Tim, welcome to the show. I know you're a huge fan of wrestling, obviously being the coach of both the boys and the girls program. We're here to talk about the boys program to start off with. So the first question we have for you, Coach Hannerburg, is give us a quick preview of the upcoming boys wrestling season.
Yeah, you guys are very well aware of all our kids, right? You coach them in middle school, so you guys know them probably better than anybody does, right? So I would say to start off with, if you guys saw our lineup last year, we had a lot of talent on our team, but one of the kind of craziest parts of the year, I've never really had a year like this. We had a lot of injuries last year. So we had a neck injury, we had an MCL injury, a meniscus injury, we had some shoulder injuries, we had a collarbone injury, so we were just hitting with the injury bug left and right. So I just start off with that because we still had a great season last year, and many of those same kids are coming back this year, right? So some of those kids that were hurt are coming back, and then they're filling in. So if we had to talk about last season too, just kind of mention it too, we won the section tournament last year. We're 1 point away from placing at the state tournament. We lost to Bemidji, who took 5th place last year. So that kind of puts in perspective, we lose a few key seniors. We're going to reload with a lot of good kids too. So just talking about a lot of these kids too, we're kind of starting off with 2 of our big studs, right? So Trey Beisel, who's a state champ, his freshman year in high school, he took 6th place, had a really nasty, gnarly knee injury last year, or sophomore year, I should say, right before the state tournament. Last year, took 2nd place. Absolutely phenomenal season. So state finals for him. And then Beckett Edstrom, 8th grader last year, took 3rd at the state tournament at 107. So those are probably our 2 big guys, right? And then the other cool thing is we have a lot of key returners returning from last year too. So I bring up that injury thing first to talk about someone cool on our team. I really like talking about this a lot, but someone like Sully McNamara, right? So he's someone that you guys are well aware of, teaching at the middle school, coaching him in the middle school. We brought him up last year as an 8th grader, added a lot of depth for our room, right? And some of that, we had some really great guys in front of him, probably not thinking he was going to get too much varsity time, but man, he ended the season with about 20 to 30 matches on varsity. I should probably say over 30 matches on varsity and 20 wins on varsity. So you bring someone like that in our room, and I think it's just a kudo to you guys in the middle school room. These kids are prepared right away, day one, to start on the varsity lineup. So and Sully's proven that. He's just one of many kids that we can bring up that's proven that. So
and on Sully, the really cool thing is he was so little last year, right? And he was jumping up to 114 pounds, giving up so much weight. And the way he really battled every single time. I remember that Prior Lake match last year. Holy cow. He really showed a lot during that match. And I look forward to seeing that next step, because I know he always puts a lot of work in there. You mentioned Beckett. I know he's had an off season. He just wrestled in that Minnesota number one, right? Which was, that's amazing. They put in the work, and it's going to be fun to see them.
Tim, could you tell us a little bit more about that Minnesota number one?
Yeah, so a pretty cool deal. It's held out in Minnetonka, and they, I can't remember the name of the place. They call it the Shop or something along those lines, right? So they invite a wide variety of kids, and they try to get at least, a good matchup at every single weight class across the state. So Beckett got invited, and he beat, I believe the final score was somewhere around 11-4, maybe 11-5, somewhere around there. But a really good wrestler from Cannon Falls, Parrish, a huge name down in Cannon Falls.
And according to his mom, a kid he's never beaten before.
For sure.
And so close that gap and surpass that as well. Which makes me want to jump to talking about your team as a whole. I know you hinted at some of your lower weight guys. You had a plethora of riches in the lower weights last year at 107, right? You talked about Will Bainbridge and Beckett Enstrom and Sully McNamara. Well, they spread out a little bit, right? They got a little bit bigger, they hit puberty, which happens. I wonder if you can kind of give us a quick rough estimate of what your lineup's going to look like as you guys get closer to the season?
Yeah, so I mentioned Sully, and and as you mentioned Mitch too, right? He's a little guy. He was a little guy for most of his life growing up. Pretty cool that he's spreading out in those weight classes now, and he held us down pretty solid at the 107-pound weight class last year. Jumped up to 114 as Becky came down at the end of the year, so he's 114 for the section tournament. But I expect by the end of this season, most likely he'll be at 107, right? So he'll be back down there. And once again, bringing all those varsity matches and that experience that whole year to that varsity weight class, and going to do a phenomenal job at that weight class. And I expect him to be probably all-state by the end of the season as well. So we're expecting huge things from Sully. Once again, someone that puts in a lot of time in the spring and summer wrestling, has really been coming on and doing a great job for us. Some other kids too, so mention our injuries, right? So William Bainbridge is another kid that's coming off a meniscus injury, and I expect him to be somewhere in the 121 or the 127-pound weight classes. Him and Beckett are very similar weights, so those two will probably be at one of those two weight classes as well. And then one cool kid that I really want to talk about as well, thinking about our lineup here, is Donovan Ward. Just absolutely, in the baseball, I think they call it the utility man, right?
Yep.
And Donovan would be our utility man, right? So he's someone that I think is really good that we can just plug in at any weight class, anytime. He's going to do an absolutely phenomenal job. I just remember last year too, we were wrestling Anoka at the Clash, and they want to try to get a good matchup, and they thought they had a good matchup against Donovan. Donovan just went out there and just actually ragged out the kid. End up taking him, I think, by either the end of the first period or beginning of the second period. So he's just a kid that we can plug into.
I want to plug in on that too. I think Donovan's kind of an under the radar guy.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
not too many people.
Been in your room for what now? 4 or 5 years?
Oh, yeah, for sure, yep.
And has paid his dues, has had some
100%.
spot varsity time, some big matches at the state tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Has never really cracked that lineup, but I think a guy that, when it comes to section time, could definitely do some damage.
And if you want to really climb and beat those top teams, you need kids like Donovan
for sure.
to really push. You have those studs, right? That you absolutely, every team's got those studs, but do they have the glue guys that really push it? And I think Donovan's going to step right in and show a lot of people
exactly what you guys are saying. I would say the one match that maybe epitomizes that too. So last year we were wrestling Park at the team section tournament, and they tried to get a good matchup against us, and they had a stud in those middle weight classes, right? Donovan went out there, put him to his back right away. I thought he was pinned, right? But as Mr. Vite says, if the ref doesn't call it, he's not pinned. So had the guy in his back, but once again, they're looking for big points. And Donovan kept it to a decision the whole match. So that saves us, they're thinking they're going to get a pin or a tech or a major, something along those lines. And he keeps it to a decision. Saves 3 huge points for a team and maybe a couple more than for that too, right? So just a really great kid and someone that's well prepared and ready to jump in this varsity lineup. I think, once again, you said it yourself, someone that's paid their dues, right? He's a senior. He's been behind great kids in our lineup. When you have Beisels in there, Lamberts in there, and all these kind of kids, he's paid his dues really, really well, and he's someone that I expect big things. And someone, once again, a team that's going to look up our lineup, might not see his name and think that it's going to be a killer, but he is going to be a killer, and he's going to do great things this senior year.
So then we jump up to 138. Is that where you kind of predict Trey Beisel will be?
I expect that. I think he's talking about that weight class too, and I expect him to be at 138, and he's going to have a rock solid senior year too. So obviously last year I believe he took 3rd at the Christmas tournament last year. He took 2nd at the bi-state. Just had an absolutely phenomenal season. Once again, ended the state tournament at 2nd there as well. So he's an amazing captain, great leader, does everything the right way. So and he's just puts up points in a second, I should say. So I think last year, his first match of the year, he had a tech with new rules now, right? 3 points for a takedown, 1 for escape. He had a tech in about 27 seconds, I want to say.
Oh, wow.
First one of the year. So he's putting up points pretty quickly.
So then we go to the middleweights. Sorry to interrupt you here.
No worries.
We got 2 guys that you kind of hinted at. Rocco Ilinardo. He's gotten big.
Oh, yeah.
Big and strong.
I saw him biking around the neighborhood during the summer, and I was like, all of a sudden I had to get a second look, and I go, oh my gosh, Rocco?
Well, as Luke Rao, he's been weight training a lot. He's a grad of us, and he actually calls Rocco Quadzilla because his legs are just absolutely enormous, right? So he's just, I know Ian would get that. Ian over here, he's a big Godzilla fan, so I think he would like the shout out to Quadzilla. I think that would be really nice. But anyway, so Rocco's been putting a ton of time into the wrestling room this spring, this summer, and lifting. So he was at 121 last year. He's probably going to be in our middleweights this year, 145 I expect. So he's going to be an amazing kid that we have in the lineup. I would say right after him too, someone that's really going to jump out is Presley McCrae, right? So this is someone, once again, maybe our second utility guy, right? He's a closer for us, a utility guy we can plug in. Had some great matches last year. I would say one match that was awesome last year was Rochester Century. He got a lot of starting time last year with all those injuries. Went in there, beat a good kid, and someone that we can always plug in. He's got a nasty cradle, very good on his feet, and he could always do good on bottom too, right? So he's someone that, once again, you look up our lineup, another team's going to scout us. They might see Presley McCrae on there and might not know who he is, but we know he's going to be a stud for us in those middleweight classes.
Well, and he's been in that room for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And he puts in the work, and I know he's looking forward to him. getting into a maybe a varsity spot,
for
slot, and really stepping up big for the team. I think you're going to see some big points out of there. Out of Presley.
And then when we start moving up to the upper weights, you have a lot of depth in those weights with, and again, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mark Svoboda, Case and Esterby, who we're going to talk to in a little bit. Those guys are kind of interchangeable, right? Depending on the weight classes after the football season. And then you kind of slide up to the upper weights with Adrian Fuchs and Elijah Christopher, kind of in that 215 heavyweight range. Again, Elijah's kind of an undersized heavyweight. Anything you want to talk about with those four guys kind of from 160 down to heavyweight?
I would. Let's just start off with Kaysen. He's someone that came out of wrestling a little bit later in his career. He's not one of those kids that started, he might have did a little bit wrestling earlier on in life, but nothing too serious, right? And obviously you guys could attest to it. We pulled him out pretty late in middle school and was just a really good athlete, right? We loved having him in our middle school room, but just a really phenomenal athlete. And he's really put in a ton of work this spring, this summer, and doing a great job on the football season too. So I just love having him, and he's going to do really, really great things. And just kind of got a rough deal last year at sections, took third, so it wasn't a state qualifier for us. But I really expect huge things from Kaysen. One of the people too, he caught that injury bug last year, got hurt. He hurt his collarbone, kind of where it connects to your sternum, and so he missed a little bit of the season. Came back strong for us in the end. And then someone too. A name that everybody's going to recognize is Mark Svoboda. He's been wrestling for us since 8th grade, a ton of varsity time early on in his high school career, and he's someone that is a multiple time state qualifier, and he's someone that can put up big points pretty quickly. Very explosive wrestler, puts people on his back, loves throwing, loves going upper body. So once again, he's someone that we really expect big things from. Then the last two names you mentioned as well, Adrian Fuchs. I love for anybody, if they can, go watch his match against Bemidji last year at the state tournament. He got taken down. He doesn't start the match the right way, but he always ends it the right way, right? So he got put to his back right away, ended up coming back, takedown after takedown after takedown, ends up putting the kid to his back in a cradle. So he's just someone that, as the match goes on, gets better and better and better. So love having him, and he's stepping into his sophomore year, so huge things are going to happen. That's where a lot of growth takes place between that freshman and sophomore year. Oh yeah. So he did a lot of wrestling in our, our cadet. I believe he was a cadet, but our cadet duels, freestyle and Greco, went to Fargo, won some matches out there. So once again, someone that's been putting time into the wrestling room, putting time in the weight room, he's going to do great things.
And for people that are tuning in, if they don't know anything about Fargo, it is the toughest freestyle and Greco tournament in the entire nation. Adrian, I believe, won 2 or 3 matches out there as a younger cadet at that.
For sure.
So to find that success is pretty amazing.
Absolutely. And anytime you win a match at the Fargo tournament, that kind of, it's huge. Big guys start opening up.
As people might not know, these brackets sometimes are over 120 kids in the bracket, right? So, and these are the best kids. These aren't the run-of-the-mill kids that are going to this thing. These are some of the best kids in the state. So he's beating the best kids in the state from other states. So it's pretty cool. The last team you mentioned, Elijah Christopher, I'd love to talk about him too. He's just been someone that held our upper weights together last year. 215 heavyweight wherever we needed him. He did a great job for us. Had some electric pins last year. Apple Valley was a huge one. You guys were on the call for that one. Holdingford, another huge one. And I would say another huge match that he had. Maybe not a lot of people have seen the ending, but it's just, as this one Minnesota wrestler, Damian Hahn, always said, if there's time on the clock, there's time to wrestle, right? So he got a takedown in literally the last second at the section tournament to qualify for the state tournament. So he's someone I know that's going to move up to heavyweight and have a phenomenal season. So something that we really are excited about too.
Yeah, and he's undersized. You mentioned, going in as that heavyweight, but crazy good athlete.
Oh yeah.
Right? You watch those legs start going, you really see that drive in his double leg. Once those feet are going, it's hard to stop him.
Oh, for sure.
Now, so we just kind of got a preview of the roster. I think we're going to you start off with Sully and you kind of end with Elijah. That'd be a great solid lineup. Now think back to the season as a whole. What are the important matches or the fun matches that you're really looking forward to? Because I looked at that schedule. You got we got teams like Albert Lee coming in. You got something that I was really excited about was a Scott West scrimmage.
Yep.
I mean that's another top team.
Pretty cool.
In Double A coming to town. That's really cool.
So we've done this the last couple of years, this scrimmage, and I think you looked at my sheet of paper here, Mitch, because you stole all my firepower. But it's okay. I got some few more things to add in here. I'm just joking. But the scrimmage we get a earlier start this year. The same thing was last year. Next year will be different. But our first competition could be the week of Thanksgiving, and it's just it gets harder and harder to plan things around that. So what we did the last couple of years is we do a scrimmage, right? So we're going to bring in Lake City and Scott West too. Once again, you talked about Scott West. Lake City's had some good teams over the last couple of years. Scott West, perennial good team. right? So that's going to be awesome to bring them in and just do a little scrimmage, get some matches in, hard drill with some kids that aren't in your room and you see every day, right? So going to start off with them. And then I'll say the first big test is always a Christmas tournament, right? So we have some duels beforehand in a tournament as well in Coon Rapids, but that Christmas tournament is the first big test, and it's pretty early in the season, right? So you see all the best teams in the state. Not too many single A teams, but the best AA teams and definitely the best AAA teams with a handful of teams from other states as well. So that's always a huge test. The tournament I probably love the most is the bi-state. I love that one so much. We see a lot of teams that we normally never see throughout the year. Handful of teams like South St. Paul, we see those teams. Goodhue or even Zumbrota, we see those teams, but most of the teams we don't see. So we don't really know who these kids are. We get thrown in a bracket, and our kids just get tons of great matches. We have a ton of place winners. We did pretty well last year, the year before that, and the year before that as well. We won the tournament, so it's really cool.
What's fun about that tournament too is you'll wrestle kids that are Division III state champs from Wisconsin that you've never heard of.
For sure.
And all of a sudden you knock this kid off and you're like, I didn't know he was ranked.
And watching the video of that, I've never been down to that tournament, but the atmosphere, where you got the upper ring and then you're sitting there wrestling on the floor, that just seems
I was just
really
going to mention that. It's a bowl area, right?
Yeah.
So you just got the wrestlers on the ground, parents are up top, and they do a great job of highlighting the semifinals, highlighting the quarterfinals. The finals are absolutely phenomenal too. And now, once again, what they did last year, they kind of switched off back and forth between the girls finals and the boys finals and had a really good format to that as well. So they really highlight everybody. You wrestle in a huge arena and really get ready for like that mid-season kind of, get ramping up for the tournament as well.
Well, Coach Hannerburg, thanks so much for your time. We are super excited for this boys season.
Well, thank you guys.
We can't wait to get back in the air and highlight Hastings wrestling. That's a wrap with Coach Hannerburg. We'll be right back to talk to some of our boys wrestlers and find out about their season.
He gets the pin. What a move, what a goal! Oh, and a shot scores! The Raiders, can they get the lip? Yes, they do.
Just snipes one.
Oh my God!
And reaching up and making the play.
It's over!
Looking to throw, and she's going to get the first down.
Gone! Touchdown Raiders!
But here is the difference for the class of 1990.
We went from Mile High Eagles to Al and Peg.
I know you're all excited about Y2K. You could lose power or party like it's 1999.
Hastings High School has been graduating seniors. This is the first commencement of 87. Congratulations, class of 2023. Go Raiders!
Funding for community TV is in rapid decline, and HCTV will not survive without your help. Let your local representatives know that you support community TV. To learn more, visit savecommunitytv.com.
Push that trash that way, not this way. Come on.
Oh, hey there. Do you like HCTV?
That's one small step for Hastings and one giant leap for community television.
Do you want a custom video that promotes your business or organization and gives you the results you're looking for? As an HCTV sponsor, our staff will work with your business or organization to create a custom video to promote your brand. You also have an option of getting a shout out in every sporting event we cover. And that's 3 points for your business. So support HCTV today! Go to hastingstv.org/sponsors for more information or to give a one-time donation.
Welcome back to HCTV, where we're in the last round of our Roundtable wrestling discussion. Today, I'm Kyle Kreiser, as always, joined by Mitch Sheeman. We're back again. We're joined by our senior wrestling captains. I'm going to introduce them one by one and give you an introduction of who they are. We're going to start way on the left. This is senior Mark Svoboda. Mark is a multiple-time state qualifier for the Raiders. We have Kason Esterby. He was third in the sections last year, just narrowly missing out in the state tournament. He's also a senior captain. And then we have Trey Beisel. He's a multiple-time state place winner and 2023 state champ. All three guys captains this year for our Raiders. Looking forward to a huge season up ahead. And guys, one of the reasons why we had you here today is having been your coach a long time ago, we circled this year as kind of an important year. We really predicted a lot of success for you guys. I know you guys are looking at your lineup and kind of licking your chops a little bit. A lot of chances for success. Mark, I'm going to start with you. Give us a quick rundown of how you're feeling about this season, what we're looking forward to, and kind of what you're feeling about.
We got a lot of holes filled that in the last few years. We had a couple holes last year, and this year those holes are getting fixed real well, and we got really good people to step up into them.
Love it. Casey, anything you want to add about that?
Not really, but our heavier weights are definitely going to be a lot more solid this year.
That's because you guys are filling those holes, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Trey, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah. I think we have a really young team, a lot of freshmen, sophomore. And obviously we got us, seniors and juniors. But, yeah, we're a young team. I think we're going to be pretty good, though.
And last year, thinking back to last year, there was a lot of injuries that really kind of plagued the team. We went through shoulders. I know there was knees. There was a lot of things. I know you got banged up throughout the year. And it's going to be fun to have our full team healthy again. Guys that we didn't really see on the mat as much. Thinking about Will, Rocco, I know was in and out of the lineup. It's going to be fun to watch the team come back together. So.
Yeah, we had an embarrassment of riches last year, right? We had some studs down low where we'd kind of plug and fill them in. And all those guys have gotten a lot bigger, right? Yeah. So I'll be excited to see kind of how our roster fills out and see kind of where everyone kind of finds their role on this team. Let's talk a little bit about the season. You guys have, once again, one of the toughest schedules in the entire state of Minnesota. Is there a tournament or a match that you guys kind of look forward to every single year that you kind of circle on your calendar? Want to start?
Yeah, I would say for me it's a Christmas tournament. It's single A, double A, triple A, and Wisconsin, so you could get all around Minnesota and Wisconsin, and just the best of the best competition.
Love it.
I think by state, it gets a good new look. Wisconsin people wrestle a lot different, so he gets to see some new kids, and I placed that last year, so I'm going to do the same this year.
They are weird in Wisconsin, I know that.
Yeah, you would know.
I think it's either Christmas or by state. Kind of the same feeling is that we get also all new kind of looks, and with single A, double A, triple A, a lot of Wisconsin, they wrestle a lot differently than us.
Love it.
So I really like in the new competition.
Yeah, different verbiage, by the way. Peterson roll stuff. I was looking at your schedule, and I kind of had a few things circled. We wrestle Albert Lee. We're talking about Simley, of course, Wayzata, Prior Lake. It's some of the best teams coming in that try to challenge our team, and it's going to be fun to see how we have our lineup, right, to try to put our horses against. It'll be fun to see our horses against some other horses, especially early in the year. Scott West is coming for a scrimmage. It's going to be fun to watch to see how well you guys really grow throughout the year.
Let's talk about sections a little bit, guys. Right? Last year, Cottage Grove was loaded last year. Park probably had their best team they ever had. Do you guys feel like you're the favorites kind of going to the section meet this year, knowing who you have coming back versus what Park lost? Mark, if you want to just answer that, we don't have to go down the line, but just kind of tell us what your thoughts are on the sections.
Well, I think last year in the first duel, both me and Jack last year got pinned in just both crazy moves that we both kind of got stuck in. We still beat them by 7 or 8 points. We went in the sections and did the same exact thing, and they couldn't keep up with us still. I think we still got quite a good advantage on them like we have the last 5 or 6 years.
That's a good point, right? Those are kind of two fluke matches that you wrestle them 99 times or 100 times. Doesn't happen very rarely, right? So you kind of flip the switch in that section match and won those matches that we needed to win.
Yeah, and as a team, I'm looking forward to keeping that state bid going. Individually, I know, Kason, you've been working all throughout the spring. You worked really hard, even starting even last winter. You all had that goal of, I'm going to be at that state tournament. I'm going to be at that, at that pinnacle part of the year. Kind of explain, what made you really want to be there? What's your ultimate goal when it comes to this year for the wrestling season? What's your goal?
I think placing is definitely the goal this year. I think everyone around me I see have a lot of success, and I just want to achieve what they're achieving.
I love what you said there too, because it's not just making the state. You can see yourself on that podium this year, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think definitely placing's got to be the goal.
And you put in the work. Last year was the first year starting freestyle, right?
Yeah.
You haven't done that. You won a couple of matches out in the Northern Plains. Did you try Greco as well?
No, I did not do Greco.
Didn't try it?
Just wait in for the freestyle.
Okay. But then you got your Greco partner right here, ready to go. So it's fun to kind of think about the growth and the development that you had over the off season heading into this next season.
I'm going to go back to Mark for a second before we jump to you, Trey. Mark, you've been at the state tournament a couple times now. Have not cracked the podium yet, but you've been close, right? I think this is your year, right? Tell us some of the stuff that you've done in the off season to kind of get yourself prepared for this season.
I think a lot of the freestyle Greco has definitely helped me a lot more on my feet, because I think on top and bottom I don't struggle that much, but it's a lot on my feet. And like even in my first match at state last year, individual wrestling Kyler Walters, I mean, it's a lot of a dogfight. He was just a little stronger and more technical than me, but I know I'm right there with him, and I'm still going to be right there this year too.
I love what you just said, right? And mentally, you know that you're there now. You've closed that gap on him, and you're not afraid of anyone, which is awesome. We're going to jump to you, Trey. Trey, you had a really tough state finals loss. And I hate to bring that up, but I know that it's fueled a fire in you for this year. What should we expect in some of the work that you put in the off season for this upcoming season?
Yeah, obviously that hurt last year, but I think this year I jumped many levels. I've been putting in the work at the U with my brother, lifting hard, stuff like that, and got the same goal as last year, as being on the top of that podium again this year.
That's fantastic.
Now, with that, one thing that I was really impressed with this year is not so much the wrestling side of it, but you jumped back into football, right? Yeah. As an outside linebacker now, you just kind of stepped into the role of a starting outside linebacker, which is cool to watch. Did you, when you think about jumping into football, was that something, you know what, I'm just going to take a little break away from wrestling, or is that something, you know what, I just want to be with my buddies, I want to be senior year playing football?
Yeah, I had a bunch of coaches, and obviously all the football players wanted me to come out.
Yeah.
And I decided to give it a shot.
So, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, especially because it not only, you know, it's nice to have those well-rounded athletes in doing different sports, and I think that's going to help you even on the wrestling mat as well.
Let's talk a little bit about your wrestling journeys, guys, right? Trey, you've been on the wrestling mat since you probably could walk, right? And you're surrounded by wrestlers, wrestling family, dad that was part of the state championship team, right? Mm-hmm. What have you done as you've kind of progressed to kind of recruit new kids into wrestling, your friends, your buddies? Like, I know that you were born into wrestling, but what have you done to kind of add and get new kids out for the sport of wrestling?
I think when you're younger, try to get them to the
Showcase?
Showcase. And they just go there and they tend to just love it. All the little kids just running around, just having fun. Biggest thing is just having fun.
For sure.
Don't think about it too much and just have fun.
And it's funny because you guys all did the showcase when you were little, right? Case, and I want to have him pass the mic to you. You have a kind of a different wrestling journey, if you don't mind me talking about. You actually started as an 8th grader.
Yeah. I did wrestle in kindergarten, 1st grade, maybe 2nd grade, I don't remember. But, I joined late 8th grade year, and then I wasn't going to wrestle freshman year. And I joined a little late freshman year, and then I think sophomore year I really figured out that I liked it and started putting more time to it.
And we got to tell this story because we're on the air and it's fun to kind of embarrass you a little bit. But one of my favorite stories is how we actually got you out for the sport of wrestling. We were literally at a home match, middle school match, and you're rolling around with some of the wrestlers after the match watching. And I literally watched him wrestle, and I'm like, holy cow, he's beating some of our middle school kids after the match. So
just goofing around.
And I immediately pulled him off to the side. I called your mom and said, hey, Erica, I think he should try wrestling. And she's like, he can't do it with basketball going on. Next thing you know, he's on the mat the next week. The rest is history, right?
Without shoes. He was on, didn't have
That's
shoes
true.
that first.
Something's
that
never
first
changed. So talk about that, right? You played basketball kind of all the way through middle school. What made you kind of flip from basketball to wrestling when you got to high school?
I always played basketball just because my brother and dad played basketball, so I was just naturally in that. And I think the environment and the work ethic is a lot better in wrestling for, I guess, my standards of it.
Cool.
And that really just got me hooked into it.
Well, and it's so cool because you can start the sport at different times.
Yep.
You know, you started in 8th grade. We talked with our middle school wrestlers saying, hey, here's a kid that started in 8th grade and look at him now. Now he's got aspirations for that state podium. Yep. It's so different than other sports where hockey almost have to be playing nonstop. Where when an athlete comes onto the wrestling mat, if you put in the work, you can really, really excel in it. Yep. So it's awesome to see.
All right, and then last question, if you want to pass it over to Mark. Mark, we know that you're a football player along with Case and along with Trey. You guys are the leaders of the defense, right? Football and wrestling have a lot of parallels, right? I know you guys are working hard to recruit some football players, possibly out for the wrestling mat this year. Help us talk about like the connection between football and wrestling and how it can help you in both sports.
So I think for like transitioning from wrestling to football, it makes you such a better tackler. Mm-hmm. Like you can see with Trey, he's probably one of our best tacklers on the team. He doesn't miss a tackle, and that's been our problem we've had for the last few years.
Sure.
And then Trey steps in, doesn't have a problem with it, and same every single time. It's always all of our backers, Case and me, and it's Grant too.
Yep.
I mean, Grant never wrestled, but he definitely shows that he wants to wrestle, and we tried to get him out, but he might not come out, but that's the goal.
We are super excited for all of you guys. Anything that you want to say before we wrap this all up that you want to highlight before we kind of end our roundtable discussion? Otherwise, you're off the hot seat for a little bit. Anything you guys want to say?
Yeah, I'll say I think this team is capable of winning it all this year. I think all the way from 106 to heavyweight, everyone's going to be ranked top 5, all that kind of stuff. I think
that's awesome.
Be top contender this year.
Anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap this up?
I mean, right off of Trey, I mean, this team has been coming up for the last, almost 10 years. I mean, a lot of these kids this isn't new to them. They've been in this spot before, but this year, place at NY, we got to step it up again, but this year we can get it done. Coming for STMA.
Well, I love it. All right. Thank you guys for your time, and best of luck this season. Appreciate it.